Hi, good evening. This is Jim Howard with Trinity Security Allies, where our ministry is your church's safety. We are doing our webinar on Ready for Easter. We talked last week and we had some interesting conversations on getting ready for Easter. And some of the things that came up that had not been addressed was just really interesting. I keep saying that. But anyway, we decided that we wanted to carry it over so that everybody could talk about it. And I kind of went out and did some research and I'm going to be providing some more information on this so that we've got a lot going on, and it's just I don't think we've thought a lot of things through. In fact, I'll even be honest with you. I went to my church and knew that we hadn't thought them all the way through. All right. So not this weekend, next weekend, we have Easter. And of course, we're going to have 7 services at our church. So the number one thing that we need to be ready for, of course, is what could be facing us and what could be going on out around our church. So we already know that we need to be setting up our positions. This is something that we've talked about. Uh, we've gotten used to talking, and y'all have asked me about positions and different things like this. We want to make sure that we're covered on the outside of the worship center. And then, of course, we're going to be covered on the inside of the worship center. This is where we place a lot of our team members so that we kind of know if somebody calls out WW1, we know exactly that they're down front and they're on the women's side inside the worship center. WM1 would be on the men's side in the worship center itself. So we have our positions already done. We've been doing this for some time. Every church I go to has their safety team set up in specific positions, and they walk me through and they show it to me. But one of the things that we've never covered, at least I've never covered in some of my training, is bomb threats. And we got to talking about it last week, and I was like, well, really, I hadn't really thought about it, but it has been a while since we've really even talked about it. But yet, Jessica reminded me because Jessica was doing some of the Google alerts, and she spotted a situation where a church had a device in front of the church, and then there were devices all over the town. The person was arrested here. We're watching it. They were told by the newspaper that they were incendiary devices. We don't have much more information than that. We just know that this person did place these bombs out here. We're trying to see what else we can gather from it. But it's been a while since we talked about bomb threats. And so, of course, in the old days, in the way that we would normally have looked at it in the past, that when you got a bomb threat, it came over a telephone. And so, of course, the Department of Homeland Security puts out this pamphlet that we will be sharing the pamphlet with you. We'll be sharing the website to where you can go and get it. It is with an organization called the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency of the Department of Homeland Security. They work with them hand in hand. And in this, they have this neat little piece of paper that you can print out and put anywhere you want to, and what to do in case you have a bomb threat. So of course, the thing of it is that they tell you you know, to remain calm, keep the caller on the line as long as you possibly can. Do not hang up, even if the caller does. You want to keep that line open. The second thing that they tell you to do is for the person to listen carefully, be polite, and show interest. Try not to overreact to it when a person calls and says they have a bomb threat. That's exactly what they're trying to do, is to get you to overreact to it. So try to be as calm as possible. Try to keep the caller on to learn as much information as you possibly can about the bomb and the bomb threat. If possible, write a note to a colleague to call the authorities, or as soon as the caller hangs up, immediately notify them yourself. Add another phone. Once again, do not hang up. Now, these are the basic ones. If the phone has a display, copy the number and or letters on the window and display. Complete the bomb threat checklist. This is what we're going to give you. This is what we're going to send out. Immediately, write down as much detail as you can remember. Try to get the exact words. As the person's talking to you on the phone, try to get them to talk to you and tell you as much information as you possibly can. And then, of course, immediately upon termination of the call, do not hang up the phone, but for a different phone, from a different phone, contact authorities and immediately with information and await instructions. Okay. That's great if they make the bomb threat to the phone. But on Sundays, we really don't have anybody managing or answering phones anywhere inside the church. But what are we? What are we? We are online. We have online services and we have in-person services. But while we're in person, we have online services also going on at the same time. So the question was brought up, and I happen to remember that we had a situation at our church where we had somebody that said some derogatory things because what happens while we have our online services, like if we're on YouTube or we're showing it on Facebook, we allow users or people that are watching it to be able to ask questions or say hello or can you help me with this? But they're able to talk back and forth with what is going on in the services. And we have people that are on the other end, on our end, that are answering these questions or answering anything that they might be coming up or just simply talking to them. Well, it came to our attention when we first went live on YouTube. Of course, we've had the Zoom bombing that has happened. Jessica talked about one on Martin Luther King's Day where they were having a celebration of the life of Martin Luther King, and somebody hacked into their Zoom call and started posting racial uh, racial statements and KKK and different things like this that really caused concern. I mean, it would to anybody, but immediately they had to shut down the Zoom call because they weren't ready or weren't prepared on what they should do in case these things happen. So that's why I said I went to my church because I didn't know if we had anything in procedure at all and was talking to one of our creative arts persons, and she told me that they did have somebody that kind of said, I hate churches, I hate you, and she deleted that person or blocked that person instead of getting a screenshot or getting some information for us so that we could kind of follow up on it. So what we want to do tonight is we want to kind of talk about some of the things that you should be doing. Now, what I found out with our church is that we can hide that person. We can hide that person to where the other people on the call or on the online services do not see this person, but yet they can still respond to this person. I'm not for sure how we do it. I will get up with my creative arts guy that does those things. I'll talk to him, find out what software we use, and I'll make sure that we get that information out also. But they are able to hide that person so that normal people do not, or other people online do not see this person, but yet they can continue the conversation. So, what should you do if all of a sudden you have somebody call you on the phone and tell you that they have planted a bomb inside your church? Well, one of the first things that you should do, they come online and say there's a bomb inside your church. One of the first things that you should do is say, where is the bomb located? Now, why do we do that? Why do we ask that question? Well, I mean, the obvious answer is we want to go take a look and see if there's a bomb there. But really, what you're trying to do, one of the other things that you're doing, you're trying to figure out if this person has ever been to your church before. Because if he just says, you know, somewhere in the crowd, or he says, I put it underneath the table, but he can't really name the name of the place. Like we have the gathering, we have the worship center, but we're listening to him talk to see, or the person making the bomb threat to see if maybe they really have been here before. Because like in this example that we're using right now, if they were to tell us the worship center instead of the congregation or where everybody meets or something like that, that immediately is going to cause us to kind of refocus. I mean, it's already serious enough, but now we really got to start thinking about this because the person said a specific location inside our church. We had the kids zone. If he said children's ministry, yes, we still are concerned. But if he said the kids zone, we know that this person has been inside our church before. So we immediately want to start getting more information. Now, while this is going on, the creative arts people are going to be notifying us so that we can get to what we call the truck or where they're located at so that we can start watching what is going on behind the scenes. because we need to be paying attention to this so that we can start getting in touch with local law enforcement. The next question you should ask is, when will it go off? I mean, the person may not tell you the truth. The person may lie to you. The person may say in 60 seconds. Well, you don't have much time anyway. I mean, it's kind of like, this is probably not, I would say really seriously, if a person called and said it's going to go off in 60 seconds, I don't know that just from dealing with people, I would be really concerned, or I would be thinking that this person really isn't telling the truth, but looking for a reaction. Let me explain something to you. If you panic on one of these things and go out and grab your pastor and say, hey, we got to go because we have a bomb threat, they're going to be calling you every weekend because they're going to want that reaction. That's the reaction they want from you. But what we really need to do is we need to start putting into play. And this is a training session that we're going to practice on. We're going to work on. We're going to put this down on paper. We're going to be able to now share this with you as an actual training session, because I've got 30 minutes here and this is not enough time to go through everything that we should be doing. What type of packages we should be looking for, what type of suspicious things we're looking for, suspicious people, all the different things like that. Staying in positions, making sure that you don't have everybody acting in a panic mode, because then that starts the people to be in a panic. And that's one of the things that you do not want to do. If the person comes back and says 1 hour, okay, local law enforcement are on their way. You want to make sure that you're getting them there as soon as possible. The next question would be, what does the bomb look like? What does it look like? Maybe they'll give you a description. Maybe they tell you it's in a backpack. So now we start to look for suspicious looking backpacks or backpacks that are unattended. We have something now that we're kind of starting to work on. And then we talk about, the next question is, what kind of bomb is it? Now, if the person can't really answer that, like I said, is this a prank or not? We cannot take it as a prank. We will not take it as a prank. We will take it very serious just because the call came in. But the thing of it is we got to get as much information so that it helps us when we're looking for suspicious packages, and it also helps law enforcement when they come in. They want to know this information if we can get this information. If they say C4 on a timer, okay, they've watched movies and they know kind of what these type of things are. It still doesn't mean that it's not true. It's just that we're listening to see what the person might say on the other end that would really make you be really concerned. It's already a concern. We're already going to be doing stuff about it. We're already going to be letting people know about it. But how far do you go before you say it's time to evacuate the building? And this is an important part. So the next question would be, what will make it explode? Now, if the person comes back and says cell phones, then if you tell people to leave, you need to make sure that they turn off their cell phones and not use them. We don't want to trigger it as they're going out the door. We want to make sure that we take every possibility, that every single thing that we can do, precaution that we can do to have this thing not go off. So if they say using a cell phone, look, it may be a ploy, it may be something, but tell everybody, if we have to evacuate the building, turn off your phones. Did you place the bomb? Why is that important? If you have video, you can now go back and look at this video and maybe find out who this person is. Somebody might have seen this person. Now, all of a sudden, one of your safety team members says, you know what? I saw this guy put a package over here, but I went and talked to him and everything seemed to be all right. Did you place a bomb? If they say yes, then that means they have been on your property. One of the other questions, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Well, of course, they're going to give you all sorts of answers. I hate Christians. All of you are hypocrites. You know, y'all are spreading COVID because you're still meeting inside the church. All these different reasons that they may give you. And we have to understand that Easter is one of the times that Satan would just love for a church to be attacked, would just love it, because it would just scare Christians all over this country. Of course, the last question that you want to kind of ask is, what is your name? Now, of course, they may give it to you, they may not. You know, but these are things that you want to keep this person on the phone as long as you possibly can. And then these are the type of questions that they want you to ask. Now, once you get finished asking these questions, if the person hangs up with this call sheet, you make sure that you write down as many exact words as you can, where the location, well, of course, this is if it's a caller, okay? Understand, this is the old days. Where is the caller located? Background noise, the level of noise, the estimated age. Is the voice familiar? If so, what does it look like? And then you go down some other checkpoints that you look at, whether it's a female, male voice, angry, accent, calm. These are all the things that are on this checklist. Now, with it being online, you're going to have a username. You want to keep as much information as you possibly can, because that's how we would investigate it when we started to look at it. We would look at the IP address of where the person is located. Now, that you have to understand, this is a serious event that's happening right here. This is very serious for us. So we're going to do everything in law enforcement needs as much information they possibly can to be able to find out who the person is. Now, after you get finished, you should take a couple of your team members, not all of them, and start doing just a systematic check through your building. And when we talk about this is why I said this is a lot more that we need to go through, things that we need to look into, things that we need to make sure is clear. And we should have more than one person going through the rooms so that a second person can come behind them and make sure that they didn't miss anything. Now, if you have to evacuate the building, tell everybody to take all their belongings with them. The law enforcement is going to come in and do a search. And if they find a bag and they don't know who it belongs to, it's probably going to get destroyed. So tell everybody to take their property, personal property with them and leave the church. Some people have said, don't go to your cars and start them up. I've had those conversations before because it could ignite the bomb. But at our church, we have specific places that we tell people to go to get as far away from the building as possible. But I can tell you right now, a large blast, you're not going to be far enough away. So these are things that we have not talked about. I don't know of any church that has a specific bomb call procedures or bomb threat procedures, and I'd love to have them. But like I said, the Department of Homeland Security puts stuff out. There's videos out. We'll get those out to you also. But these are things that we're working on right now. We're trying to talk this through. This is just something that has never come around before, and especially on the media side. We have had Zoom bombing where people have broken into the Zoom calls and have posted pornography, different profanity, racial slurs, all these different things like that. But yet we've really never heard one. I haven't. And I went out and looked today of a bomb threat over a Zoom call. Now, that doesn't mean it isn't going to happen and isn't going to happen soon. But are you ready for it? What would your people that are doing the online portion of your services do? Do they even know to contact you, or who do they contact in case of a situation like that? So these are the things that we want to talk about. These are things that we're getting out here. We're going to put more information out on this. We're going to do a whole study on bomb threats. This will be something that we'll come to the churches and do. We might do it at a church safety network meeting where we have a little more time. But we've seen some increases in the bombs out here at churches, but we also have seen more increases on attacking the churches through social media. So these are things we want to be ready for in case it ever happens to our church. We have to take these threats seriously, but what do we do? I used to work part-time for Kmart, and I can tell you that almost every other week we were getting a bomb threat at the store. We had to validate it. We had to make sure that there wasn't a bomb. We had to go through the store and look through all the hiding spots, different things like that. You need to walk through your churches and make sure that you're looking for suspicious packages, which I know most of you already are. I mean, we're constantly finding people putting backpacks down and walking away from it. So I know that you're working on this, but we just need to be ready in case somebody makes that call and says, there is a bomb at your building. So I've run the 30 minutes. I'm getting close to the 30 minutes. I just kind of wanted to put it out here if there were any questions, because like I said, we worked with the networking group last week. This came up. I thought it was very important to bring up and discuss this, especially since we're coming up on Easter, and be ready for it. I did kind of rush through this because this is a new study or a new training that I want to do. There's a lot of information out here. There's YouTube videos. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can follow and look at, but I want to get you thinking about it right now. Now it has 2 do nots that it talks about on this guideline. And here's going to be a difficult thing to do. One is, do not use your two-way radios or cell phones. Radio signals have the potential to detonate a bomb. So right there, you're at a disadvantage. So you're going to have to figure out another way of communicating with each other to let each other know what you found or what you have not found, or that rooms are clear. Do not touch or move any suspicious packages. If you've got a person that's made a bomb threat and has given you a description of a backpack or a box at your at your loading bay or anything like this, and you come up on one, please do not pick it up. Please don't touch it. Please don't move it. Let the law enforcement people come in, because we don't want to see anybody that gets hurt over one of these bomb threats. Because I've watched my guys in action before find a backpack outside near a car, and really, truly, we know what's already happened. We know that the family has rushed out and dropped the backpack there and didn't go back and get it. And I've watched my guys go through it, and it just makes me nervous every single time they do it. Please be careful out here. We really have to be ready for Easter. It would be nothing to see our churches attacked. We have to be careful. We have to be watching for things. So I'm going to open it up. Jessica, are there any questions?
No questions right now.
All right. Well, we'll get this information out to you. We'll work on getting it out to you tomorrow. I need to copy some locations for some videos that I watched, and it's really good stuff. But you can already start putting together your policies and procedures. We will be doing training on this. We'll be working on getting it together so that it's something that the churches will have out there. So just want to let you know that this is something that has come up, and we'll be working on it real hard.
I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
So, in your experience, what would be the point where you would have to call an evacuation? Because you mentioned how you don't want to immediately call an evacuation because then you would have people calling all the time. So, what would be, is there a specific, just like something that they say or a trigger that would call you to say, just evacuate the church immediately? Or is it just kind of a case by case situation?
It's more of a case by case situation. Like I said, I told you of a story once before. While we were working on the street one day, we got a call from the airport that there was a bomb on a plane. And my sergeant went out on the call. And when he got out there, they had to unload the plane, and they took everybody off, and they took all the bags off, and they brought out a bomb sniffing dog, and they were going through the luggage and trying to find it. And what happened, a couple was running late and felt that if they did a bomb scare, it would stop the flight from taking off till they got there. And when they got there and started talking to the person at the jetway, at the gate, they recognized the voice and said, okay, this is the person that made the call. Are you sure? Yes, it sounds just like that person. And they were arrested and admitted to it later on. But like when we were working at Kmart, we went through the building and just made sure that we didn't see a suspicious package. That's why these questions are so important, is that when you're going down and asking those questions, if all of a sudden one of those become true. And there was another acronym that one of the trainings did, and I thought it was very, very interesting, and was going to bring it up, but it said the hot. It said, if you find something that looks to be hidden, like a box that seems to be stuck underneath something that nobody can claim, if it's obviously suspicious looking or it's not typical, then you should clear the building right then and there. If you answered yes to more than one of those, you should clear the building. And it's really going to be a judgment call also with your pastors. They're going to have to rely on your opinion. They really are, because you don't want to make a mistake on this. So if you find a suspicious package that's hidden, that is not typical, then you move them out. There's other things in here that we didn't even cover. There's things to look for when you go and you look for a bomb. There's grease spots. There's wires. There's all these different things. Is it making noise? I mean, is it smoking? We had the one that was in New York that was in the car that the bomb started smoking, and somebody noticed it and contacted local law enforcement. So there's all these different things that we have not covered that is going to be in a training that would be an hour or two in the training, because we want to show pictures. We want to show different things that we would be looking for as a safety team.
Tony asked, so he said, this will require a meeting before Easter. I'm new to my church. Do you have any suggestions?
Tell them to call me. I'd be more than happy to come out, Tony. I know you're going to the new church, and they've been to some of our training. If you need me, don't hesitate to give me a call. This is something that you need to talk to your pastors and you need to talk to your safety team leaders, because I mean, I'm kind of looking at this right now, and I see how many people are coming out, but this is an important issue to be talking about right now, especially as close as we're getting to with Easter. When we go back and look, 2 years ago, I believe it was, when we had the San Antonio bomber that was going around and putting packages, and one exploded while it was at FedEx. When they went to his house, they found one that was going to be shipped to a church. It had a church's address on one of the labels. So we do know that these people are out here, and it's very scary. And so we have to be prepared. We have to have some sort of plan in place. And like I said, I kind of feel like we've left this one out for a while, and it's just kind of now raised its ugly head because of it was Brevard, North Carolina, right? Just where those incinerator devices were.
Yes, it was Brevard County. Yeah.
No, Brevard, North Carolina.
Yes.
So, it is happening out here again. And then, of course, the social media attacks. We're seeing more and more of those. Like we said, Martin Luther King Day, that it was just, they had to shut it down. And as I was looking, there were other churches that have complained about this. This has been going on since COVID stopped us and we had to go online. People found ways of trying, just, they feel safe behind the computer screen. And so they do these things. Anything else out there?
There are no other questions.
All right.
One thing just popped up. John Perone asked if during an online feed, I'm guessing you keep the pastor on stage while clearing the worship room so the person doesn't know.
I mean, that's a good point. And that would be something you would have to discuss with your pastor. He may be the first one out the door. I'm just joking. That's a very good point. You want to keep it as calm as possible. I mean, if the person is watching online and has a detonator by cell phone or something like that, yeah, you would want to make sure that you made it look like, I mean, he's probably going to pick up noises. He's going to see people stand up. I was watching the video that I was just showing here of our church, and we could see people moving. So I'm for sure that they would spot it right off the bat. I don't know that. I mean, it's a good thought. If the person said, if people leave, I'll blow it up. But I don't know how you're going to get it to where they wouldn't notice it. They wouldn't notice it. I mean, if they're sitting across the street, they're going to see people coming out of the church. I mean, I mean, I would have to walk that one through in my head. I will tell you this right now. I probably our pastor would want to be the last guy to leave. I mean, I don't think that would be an issue, but for everybody's safety, you'd want to move them out of the church as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. So I don't know. I'd have to walk that one through my head. That would be an on call of the situation that's happening. Continue those what ifs. I like those. Somebody else.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming out. We're going to run through a couple of commercials here real quick. Our paperback is out. Contact us. Go on trainingsecurityallies.com and order your book today. We're really excited about this. You can order it for $20, a donation of $20 on the paperback. Please, we're going to start kind of going to some churches and doing a God's Unseen Plan tour. I want people to understand there's one thing that has been said a couple of times. This is not a book on church safety. This is a book on God's grace. This is a book on where I take you through how I could not find him, or I was not looking in the right place. And plus I was dependent upon me, on my life. I mean, I was very arrogant, narcissistic, all the different things. And Jessica, you don't have to jump in on this, but I was just the type of person that I didn't think that there was a God that existed. I just didn't, but he was always there. He's always been there for me. And this is what this journey is all about. We also have some free resources out on our website, putting together a safety team, putting together a safety plan, developing a safety team, carrying church weapons in church, and Sunday morning what to look for. Our online membership program. Jessica is about to put out something. Did you want to say something about it, Jessica?
There already is something. If you're
Oh.
getting our emails and you're checking our Facebook and you're a member of the Church Safety Networking group on Facebook, you will see that we've been advertising an Easter sale. So from now until Easter, you get a special discount. And I believe it's 25% off. And so that brings the cost down to about, I think, $18.75 a month. So go on our Facebook, go in the follow-up email, there's going to be something about it too. So go on our Facebook and check out that. If you just want to go to trinitysecurityallies.com, then you can just go ahead and register and it'll pop up right there and you just register there and then you're an online member. And that discount stays monthly, so it won't change after Easter. You'll just pay that discount price.
And this gives you live online training that you can access at any time and share with your team. A membership will give you a ticket to our annual church safety and liability conference. And of course, a membership also supports our ministry. Of course, there's the church safety and security membership for churches. And that's $125 a month or $1,200 a year, which includes 2-hour training sessions or a full day training session. Schedule phone consultations with me on safety concerns as needed. 5 tickets to the annual church safety and liability conference. Discounted full strength and weakness assessment with recommendations detailing priorities in your house of worship. And safety teams have full access to online library and monthly member only calls. So if you cannot afford a membership, consider a local business owner to sponsor your church. We have that all the time through our Centurion Club. And you can contact Wendy at securityallies.com. On Thursdays, we normally do at 11 o'clock a.m. a True Christian Talk. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. Here's how the world is. They have shut down the Facebook page of Kevin Haggerty, who started True Christian Talk and also the God Logic Project. They have suspended him, banned him for 30 days. So we're having to put the stuff out there. We're recording it and then later on putting it out. You can go and find last week's True Christian Talk on the Facebook page. I found a way to kind of circumvent it. Of course, if they're listening right now, they'll cut that out. But we are doing these that we have to be looking at the world through a Christian lens. We have to be paying attention to what is going on because there's a lot of stuff out here that are going to be affecting the churches. They're already affecting the churches. The last one that we did was on a nationwide known pastor that wrote a book that a lot of people read and a lot of people enjoyed it. I mean, it was a good book. I read it myself, but he is now a woke pastor, and it is very scary about what he is teaching inside his church right now. And really, we need to be teaching the gospel and nothing else. God's true love, God's grace, and just continue to follow him, have faith in him that he's going to take us through this world. So if you don't have anything else, we're going to close up. Thank you very much for coming out. I've got to put Jessica's name down here because Jessica is helping me. She's over at Daytona. She comes out and spends her time, her free time with us. So I want y'all to thank her. But if there's anything that we can do, especially coming up on Easter, if you start to see on your social media that you're starting to see some threats or things like that, contact local law enforcement, contact me. Let me see what we can do to help you with this. As always, be safe out there. Be blessed. God bless you. God bless this country. And have a good night.